All right, perfect timing. All right, gang. Good morning. Good morning. Just a couple of other things to say before we bring Monika on. I also just want to recognize Helene Keddington as well as Amelia Marie. Those two over the last few weeks have stepped up and really helped in covering the offices that are led by Lewis, and so I know that Monika would extend the same thanks to those two because she's in the Oxnard office where Lewis is the manager. So having said that, Monika, good morning. I see your smiling face. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You're not nervous at all, right?
Just a little bit, but no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited.
No, what I know is if you can talk to sellers and get listings, I know that you can do this. This is a breeze. This is nothing compared to that. So,
yeah,
so good morning.
That's definitely helped me.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, if you can do that, you can do this. So, if you would just let's start first of all by just letting the group know who's watching who Monika Amezcua is. Tell us a little bit about yourself personally. Where you grew up, and where you're from.
Yeah, I grew up. I'm 27 years old. I grew up in Camarillo for pretty much most of my life. I was born in Oxnard, but lived in Camarillo for 24 years, I would say. I just moved to Oxnard about 2 years ago. My move from Camarillo to Oxnard is what actually got me into real estate. We were renting in Camarillo, and my parents were like, well, we should just buy it. At this point, the owners wanted to sell their home. So we had a family friend that helped us with that move, and he kind of brought me along with him. He brought me to an open house with him and told me, he was like, you should try it. You'd be good at this. So I was just kind of going to college, taking general ed classes, confused on what I wanted to do, going back and forth from kids and criminal justice. And I tried it. I got my license and I liked it. I really loved the fact that it was a lot of personal development. I liked who it was helping me become as a person. And then I just actually really liked the fact of being able to help people and coming from like an honest place and leading them in the right direction. So I thought that was super cool. And turns out I'm okay at it. I'm pretty good at it. And I actually really, really love my job.
I love it.
So that's kind of how I got started.
So when did you start your journey? I mean, I know, but let everybody know.
So I got my license April 2019. I started with Century 21 about June, July or so on a team. And I had imagined so many things in my head of what it was going to be like to be on a team. And it wasn't like that. I felt like I was kind of the only one showing up, and I was lost. I was very lost. I had no idea what to do. It was completely different than real estate school. I took the peak training. I loved the peak training. I loved listening to the morning message every morning. So it was I liked the company, but I was lost on my team. So I ended up going over to REMAX with a family friend. I was there from October 2019 to October 2020. And I learned a lot. I was with someone who really, really taught me a lot based on like scripts and just how to talk to people. But I felt like I was almost helping someone else build their empire when I wanted to build my empire. Lewis, I knew Lewis because he was my coach's from REMAX's, my mentor coach. He was his coach. And so then Lewis came down here and he invited me to Century 21 just to like a prospecting day. I came to the prospecting day and I was like, wow, this is what I want to be a part of, like the team and the way he was leading it. I know how he helped the person that I was with at REMAX. So I was like, he can help me get there too. Started going and I got an amazing offer. Amelia called me and she was like, I need to meet with you. And I couldn't say no. I always loved the company. From the beginning, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so hard, but it wasn't. I don't know. It was different.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy to be back. I absolutely love it. I came back about October 2020, and since then, I pretty much haven't missed a day. Monday through Friday, I'm here every morning for role play and my prospecting, and I was starting to get a little bit frustrated. But then actually my family got COVID. So
Oh,
I
really?
was home. Yeah. So in January, I
Did
was
you,
home.
did you get it?
I did not,
You
thankfully.
didn't.
I did not. And
Okay.
my parents didn't. Lights went off, sorry.
It's okay. We can still see you. So,
Um,
despite that challenge and the fact that, with the company before, but came back. So kind of starting over from at least that perspective,
yeah.
with a new manager, new leader. Tell us about your production. What's happened since you came back in October?
Yeah. So last year I sold 4.
Okay.
This year I started in October, and I pretty much felt like I started from scratch. I kind of was starting brand new because a lot of my leads were his leads too. So kind of just restarted in a way.
Right.
I never really called much of my SOI, to be honest. It's something I am still working on. But I just, Lewis said, you stay consistent. You call, you make your contacts, you show up every day, you do what you have to do, you role play, master your scripts, and it'll start coming. So that's what I started doing. I made a schedule, stuck to the schedule.
Well, so pause for a second, because I want to get into your schedule and what you're doing, but just tell us about what your production looks like, because you've had some good wins. In fact, it was I guess it was about a week and a half ago. I was in the office, and you said, "Hey, I'm excited because I'm going on in a listing presentation." Do you remember the question you asked me?
Yes. I said, any advice?
What did I say?
Just be you.
Yeah, just be you and go out and get it, right? And you ended up what?
I got it.
You got it. Yeah.
I got it. And it was super exciting. And that's what the hard part is. I was home for about 3 weeks, and I felt like I had all this stuff going for me, and then I had to quarantine for 3 weeks, and I couldn't do much. But then I went back to work, and that whole time I stayed positive. I read, I did my prospecting, came back to work, I closed the deal, I got a listing, and then I opened another escrow from a buyer, and it was like, wow, this is what they mean by just I'm reading a book called 3 Feet from Gold, and I felt like I just had to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And now I'm just super excited for the rest of my year, getting that one listing and getting offers accepted. It's just okay. And hearing what customers or clients say, I always ask what their, how their experience was with me, and hearing their kind words, it's very, very motivating and makes me love what I do even more.
Yeah, no, I know you love the business. You've got such a great energy about you. So let's just tell us in terms of what you put under contract, what you've closed, buyers and sellers. Just give us the numbers so people have some perspective.
So this year it's just been the 2, and then the listing that I have. Still probably a few more weeks till it's listed. I have a lot of cold sellers that I need to follow up with. But yeah, I feel like I'm really just getting started.
So you've closed a couple of escrows. You just took a listing, and then you're actually prospecting. So
yes, every day.
it's interesting because most agents new in the business are lucky to do any business, and if they do, as they get their career started and become vets in the business, they'll do 2 to 3 transactions on average. That's the national statistic. It's very scary. And here you are. I think it's fair to say that you would consider yourself a rookie. You're new, and you've started off this year just phenomenally well. So what's that all about? What would you ascribe that to? What's the number one reason that you've been able to close a couple already this year, and then go out there in a competitive situation? Because that was a competitive listing situation. You went out and actually took that listing, despite the fact that there were other agents that they were interviewing. So what's going on? How are you doing this?
My accountability team. My accountability team is what is just everything. Ever since I started my accountability, January 4th, we set up a schedule. We send pictures for everything we do to keep each other accountable. And that's what kind of really set my foundation, really made me a lot more disciplined. And I know that's what's changing my business.
So your accountability team, are these agents in your office who work around you?
Yes, there's 4 of us.
Okay, cool.
We call
That's
ourselves the Fantastic Four.
great. That's great. Well, and so far so good, because you are doing fantastic. So, Monika, real estate's like, I say 1/10 process, and I say process meaning just the work that we have to do in terms of making the calls and helping people fill out the contracts, helping sellers in listing, buyers with the real estate purchase contracts. And I think 9/10 it's mindset. So how are you dealing with this? Because you obviously have a very positive attitude and you believe that you can do this. What's that all about?
Books. I read books.
Do you? Okay, that's great. I love it. So tell us what you've read that's inspired you, that's helping you do this.
I was someone who did not read books at all until I started real estate. I read The Compound Effect. That was the first one I read, and that's the one
that's a great one.
Wow, I have to. Yeah, that's why I was like, I really have to start changing some habits around this. I'm watching too much TV. What am I doing with all of my spare time? And then
that's
I
interesting
read,
because that particular book is the #1 book that I recommend. Love that book.
That was amazing. Lewis told me, Lewis actually recommended that book to me, and I loved it. I actually had my entire family read it. I made them read it pretty much. They loved it. They're actually very thankful I had them read that. But then I read Outwitting the Devil. And that one, for some reason, was
great book.
It was very eye-opening for me. It was, what really changed for me is that book. I would live in fear, I would say. And it says, live in faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very big on my religion, and that's something that we talk about at the house sometimes. So it was just something that really, really helped me change my mindset. And it just made me be more appreciative of life and just really remember that, negative thoughts aren't going to get you anywhere. You get to choose how you start your day every day and what you think. And it just really helped me kind of switch my mindset. I don't know exactly how, but the book really helped me.
Well, no, I think you do. It's like anything. We get what we focus on. And when you start to put positive messages in your brain, replacing them with what is default for most people in their subconscious mind, which is not good, you're going to get better results. And you're doing that, which is great. So what are you enjoying most about this business? What do you like most about it?
Every day I come into work and it doesn't feel like work. It's like a family here. I have so much support and everyone is so helpful. I don't know if it's just this office, because I was at Remax before and it was nothing like this, but I come in here and it's just, I feel like I can really trust everyone around me, and everyone's really here to help. The managers are amazing. Amelia was here this last 2 weeks that Lewis was gone, and now I'm like, no, Amelia, you can't leave. But
well, she's not going anywhere. She'll be around.
Yeah.
She better be around.
Yeah, she will. But it's just really the environment, the help, the morning ascent. Starting my day with the morning ascent is amazing. I even join Rick and Ruby 2 times a week, and there's just so much support and help here. It's like, for people who are not, and it's the people who are in morning ascent are the ones that are, the rock stars. But the people that are not watching, I wish everyone would take advantage of the morning ascent and the role play, and it's just so helpful, and it just helps you become such a great agent.
Yeah, no, I love your attitude about it, because when George and I started the company, it's coming up on 12 years ago, we put together really a process and approach that recognizes the importance of focusing on mindset and practicing our skill sets consistently every day. And morning ascent's a critical part of that. And I find it fascinating that so many within the company don't take advantage of that. And so you're saying that your consistent participation in that is one of the reasons that you're getting the great results that you're getting in such a short period of time, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, at this rate, you're on, well, first, before I project, what's your goal this year? What are you intending to accomplish in terms of closed transactions for 2021?
My goal is 18.
Okay.
So I had originally set 12, but then I was like, no, I can do more than that. And actually, I had been working a part-time job up until I gave my 2 weeks last week. So this is my last week of my part-time job, and
Outstanding.
come March, I will be full-time. So I may be even able to do more than 18.
Well, it's not maybe. I was going to say that, extrapolating what you've done so far, and the fact is, you bring a better version of yourself today than you did last year, anytime before real estate, because of your continued personal growth and your experiences. I see you doing at least 24 transactions based upon where you are. No question about that. Make sense?
Yes. Thank
All right.
you. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So what you're enjoying, just the environment, the culture, you feel like that's been the most significant impact. What's your biggest challenge? What is it that maybe gives you cold sweats or keeps you up at night, if there is anything that in real estate that does, or maybe there isn't anything? Maybe you just love it all.
I don't know. That's a hard question.
I love it.
I love
I love that.
prospecting.
I
love
hard to
my
identify.
schedule. Like, yeah,
You love Wait a minute. Did you say you love prospecting?
I do.
Wait a
I
minute. We're gonna have to
do.
get your temperature checked. You may be sick.
I
What
do.
do you mean you love prospecting? What does that mean?
I love talking to people on the phones, especially because it's so easy to, you just call people and you have good conversations. I've learned to really I memorized my scripts. I am certified, so I learned to just forget about them, and I know the questions to ask. I just listen, and to just build relationships. And then the people that don't want to talk to me and hang up, they don't even know who I am. So it's this.
No, look, Monika, I love it. And you smile when you say that, because I can see that you believe it. It goes back to what I said. Real estate is 1/10 process and 9/10 mindset. And what you just said really affirms that.
Yeah.
No, I love it. So let's talk about your schedule then, practically. What are you doing every single day?
So I'm up by 5. I have to check in with my accountability group by 5:30 with a picture of my face. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've been meeting here by 6:30 to do Rick and Ruby. And then all the other days, at least by 7 o'clock. That's our accountability. We have to be here by 7 o'clock with a picture, checking in. And Lewis checks all of our stuff too, to make sure we're on top of it. And then
I love it.
we have to join role play at 8:30. And then from 9:30 to 11:30, we are prospecting, and we cannot be on the phone with clients, lenders, parents, strictly just prospecting.
And how long do you do that?
2 hours, 9:30 to 11:30. And then 11:30 to about 12, it's just kind of some admin time. Take a lunch from 12 to 1. And this has been my schedule since January 4th. Now that I will be full-time, we are implementing from 1 to 2 lead follow-up, and then from 3 to 5, either preparing for appointments, and if we don't have appointments, we are prospecting.
I love it. Yeah.
So that's pretty much my schedule.
Going back to the mine and finding more gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I am not going to go home until I set an appointment. So I've been telling everybody that.
So let me recap that. You get up at 5 a.m. There's accountability. Never a picture of your smiling face on a pillow. You're out of bed, right, when that happens?
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah. And then in the office by 7, and then you're watching Morning Ascent every morning?
Yes.
Okay. And then prospecting starting at 9:30 to 11:30. What happens in between from the 7 to 9:30? That's 2.5 hours.
So from 7 to 7:45, we do the Morning Ascent. And then from 7:45 to 8:15, I go outside and read. And then from 8:30 to 9, we are role playing. And role play usually goes until about 9:15 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And from 9:30 to 11:30, then we're on the phone.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. So would you consider yourself a disciplined person by default, or is that something you have to work on?
A little of both. I like sleeping. So the whole I've never really been a morning person. So the switch was a little bit tough for me to be up so early.
Well, what was early for you before you got up at 5? What was an early morning?
Well, when I was at Remax, I was never at the office until 10 or 11. So I would be up at,
What, Monica, you know what we call those? You know what we call those?
What do we call them?
We call those Remax hours. Yeah, 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. is Everest hours. So I love it.
And I love my schedule now. I go to sleep. I go have dinner way earlier. I go to sleep earlier. I love being awake early. I really like being a morning person now. So it's actually pretty cool. I would say I am very disciplined now, but I did have to work on it a little bit.
So let's just, I want to, if you can, maybe just describe a couple of your wins, so that whether it's a couple of the escrows that you closed or the listing that you just took, maybe give us your best story or something that just talks about, the struggle and your triumph and how you're doing it. Because here's what I want to have happen, whether somebody who's a veteran or they're brand new in the business, I want them to see, number one, and you've done it, just your great attitude, the energy, the fact that you really exemplify that this business is about mindset. And that is one thing that I don't think anybody has it perfected, but that is one thing that you definitely are working on and are controlling it to a very large degree, which is pretty amazing. So just give us maybe one of your wins and how it happened.
Well, the escrow I just closed was the toughest escrow I have had yet. My clients, there was too many people involved. It was really tough to even get them into a house. I mean, it's definitely, there's no inventory. We had put in like 8 offers. So getting them into a house, getting them $1,500 in closing costs. Jane was my lender. She was amazing. And she even got them credits at the end, lending. We just closed last week and they're so happy. It was a family that didn't come from much. They were living in a 1-bedroom place with 4 kids. So
wow.
Helping them get into a property and closing and them just being very happy at the end and very happy with me and already sending me referrals. That has been my biggest win for this year, I would say. It just, yeah.
I love it. Your attitude and your energy. I can see that you make it about others. You stay out of your own head and you're out there to make a difference. Based upon what you said earlier and what you just said now, that is very clear. And so, and you said Jane. You're talking about Jane with Inspiro.
Yes, she's amazing. If you haven't used her.
Yeah, no, she is amazing. She is not only a sweet lady, but been doing this for many years. She's a great loan officer. So who's coaching you? Who would you say is your coach?
I would say Lewis and Amelia are my coaches.
All right. Yeah. Well, shout out to both of those fine people, because obviously it's working, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would. 100%.
What would you say is your biggest takeaway as you're working with Lewis, knowing that he's watching? What would he hope and expect that you would say in terms of maybe what he's taught you and what you're working on?
I mean, he's just really taught me, if you show up, you put in the work and you stay consistent, there's no way you're going to fail, pretty much. And Lewis, Lewis has helped me a lot. They're very honest with me. I would say Amelia and Lewis, that's one thing I'm very grateful for. They're very, very honest with me, and I know that they just want to help me and they come from a good place. So I try to just be very coachable, I guess.
I was just going to ask you that. You say try to, but I can tell that you are. You would say that.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that you are. Yeah, which is very important, which again goes back to that whole point about real estate is 9/10 mindset, being able to set aside your ego and just, go through the hard work of really maintaining the right attitude, because that is the most difficult part of this business. And just having an attitude of acceptance and immersion and being willing to put yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable. Are you uncomfortable at times in real estate?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
I always think of what George says: as you become more, you earn more.
So that raises a good point. Why are you so disciplined? Why are you doing this? What drives you ultimately? Summarize that in a sentence or two.
I just want to be the best possible version of myself. I want to show my family, you know, how the sky is the limit. I grew up different, you know, I mean, not different, but just go to college, get a 9 to 5. My family, there's not really much school in the background or anything like that. So able to do this and show my family so proud of me, and just being able to show them like you really can do anything you want, and setting the example for my little brothers and my little sister, it's amazing. I mean, I'm doing this for them, I guess I would say, and myself and my future family. So
I can see that. What I'm seeing here is a constant theme with you. You really do look outside of yourself and towards others. You know, whether it's your siblings, your parents, or your clients, and it's an attitude of service. I can see that with you, which is it's very powerful. And obviously it's working. So that's great. So what would you say is your biggest challenge? What's been the biggest challenge for you as you've worked through this journey of yours?
I had always just been very nervous to set the appointment and meet with listings. My biggest challenge, I would say, is calling my SOI.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
So
calling my SOI.
You're more nervous about that than making cold calls, talking to a FSBO expired, just listed, just sold, or a stranger.
Yeah.
So interesting.
100%.
All right.
I know everyone works a little different, but I've been getting good results. So someone told me, you know what, keep doing what you're doing, and your SOI will start calling you soon. So
well, so here's a thought, and maybe work on this with Lewis. We don't want to work through this right now, but one of the questions I would suggest that you ask yourself is, why do I feel that way in working with my SOI versus strangers? Because the fact is, in most cases, people are less likely to make the phone calls a cold call than they are to people they already like, trust, and respect. So, you know, maybe take some time to understand what's happening up there that that you could shift so that that's no longer a challenge for you as well. Because as you probably know, the fact is that the vast majority of the easiest amount of business you're going to get through the people you already know. So, and you're demonstrating an ability to go out there and get it from people you don't know. So, man, it'd be great to have you, you know, cooking with gas in both areas. So,
that's true. Yes, I will work on that this year.
Who inspires you?
You inspire me. George inspires me. Louis and Amelia inspire me. Armani, Jesus Languren inspires me. I love the company. I mean, I always talk about how amazing it is that you guys host the Morning Ascent all the time. I mean, I don't really see other owners of companies involved as much in the company like you guys are. So to get your guys' help, to know your message the other day, hey, you know, just leave, you can call me if you're feeling nervous or if you need help. Like, it's just very comforting, I guess. And it makes me never want to leave the company.
Well, and we never want you to either. And so there's no, you know, that's not going to happen. You are, I love your energy. I love your attitude. You have a sense of community, a sense of contribution. And that is, I think that's one of the defining reasons you're having the experience that you're having. So what advice would you give somebody who's brand new in the business, or maybe not new in the business, but just struggling in, you know, making progress and, you know, getting transactions? What's your final thought?
I think it all goes back to the mindset, to just knowing why you're doing it. And it's just a mindset. I mean, I think if you really want it, you're going to take the steps that are necessary to kind of meet your goal. And it was hard for me to understand that, but once it clicked, it's just, I really, there's no question as if I'm going to, I'm going to, when I'm going to. I have the faith now that it's going to happen because I'm putting in the work.
Why did it click? Because a lot of people will say that it won't click for me. Why did it click for you?
Just when I was home quarantine, I was frustrated that I couldn't meet with clients, and I wasn't, at the office with my accountability team, and I was kind of down. And it was like, why am I being so negative? Like, prospects, put in the work, and then when you go back, work even harder. And just kind of, I don't know exactly what it was, but I guess just being in that situation, stuck at home, not really, I love my job. We have so much flexibility. We control our schedule. I'm going to Tahoe next weekend, like to go skiing. So it's like we create our schedule. We're the CEO of our company, and it's just something that not everybody has, it doesn't have, I guess, the privilege of running their own business and running their own schedule. So I just really am taking advantage of. The harder I work now, the less I have to work when I'm older.
I am telling you, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, what was going through my mind at the age of 27. I was in that first 4 years of in the business where literally I almost got out of the business. Things were not going well for me. And I asked myself this question as you were talking: did I have that mindset, that it was a business and that the most important thing was controlling what was going on up here, and then being very proactive and reading and watching and participating in things that would make that defining difference so that I could get the results? And the answer is no, I was not doing that. I wasn't. And it's so interesting finding ourselves in the right environment that helps us focus on those things, to be reminded consistently, surrounding ourselves with people who hold us accountable to that process. But then, going out there and actually doing the hard work, and you're doing that, and it's obvious that it's working. So I just want to summarize some things here so that those who are listening really understand how much you've contributed this morning, because you contributed a ton. I wrote down the word intentions, having the right intentions and knowing what you intend to accomplish. That's obvious that you do. You said that you love prospecting. And I wrote down next to that the word intention, that you intend to love prospecting. You intend to go out and make a difference in the lives of other people. And you also intend, because I heard you say it, that if they hang up on you or they're not nice, it doesn't matter, because they don't know who you are. It's the mindset. You've talked about accountability and how important that is, and that's been a pivotal part of your experience. You mentioned The Compound Effect, which is a book written by Darren Hardy, for those who may have missed that, which is a great book. And then Outwitting the Devil, which is a book by Napoleon Hill, one of his best books, but I think one that's under-recognized. It is a great, great book. It's about him having a conversation with the devil, and it's a very interesting book. Scripts. Oh, by the way, how often do you practice your scripts, and how do you do that?
Every day, role play. We just 30 minutes, Monday through Friday at 8:30 to 9.
Okay. No big deal. You just do it every day. I love it.
And then Rick and Ruby, the 2 times a week too.
Right.
But my afternoon is more of the later morning time is more of the memorizing scripts, learning them.
Yeah.
And then with Rick and Ruby, it's more just practicing with them. So it's a little
practicing how to say it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, cool. And then obviously you have a schedule. We've covered that. So very detailed in terms of what you're doing and when you're doing it. Would you say that you follow that 50% of the time, 70% of the time, 80, 90, 100% of the time?
100% of the time.
100% of the time. I love it. And would you say the accountability is the reason that you're at 100%?
Yes. If we don't do what we're supposed to do, we get 3 strikes. And after 3 strikes, we are out of the accountability group, and we have to pay everyone $150. So I don't even care about the money, but I do not want to be out of the accountability group, because I know it keeps me disciplined.
Yeah. All right. And then the last thing that I wrote down is just having a purpose. And it is really clear. As you were talking about it, I could see the emotion, could hear it in your voice about being a great example to your siblings, and really showing people that you can be more and have more and do more in life. And that is really clear, that you do have a very clear vision of that purpose and what you want to accomplish. So Monika, thank you for your time this morning. It's been very fun. I've enjoyed the conversation. You have just a great energy about you. You've got a great sense of contribution, and it's going to serve you very well. I'm excited to watch not only what you do this year, 24 24 closed transactions, but it'll be fun to watch what you do in the coming years because you are a superstar in the making. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, gang. Well, let's finish it up with some closing affirmations. Again, Monika, thank you so much for your time.